You're listening right now because you are ready to make six figures. You are ready to hit your first 100K. Now, I remember when I finally did that, it was a huge achievement. But I want to be honest, this did not happen overnight. I struggled, I failed, I learned, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And while I can't go back in time and do things differently, what I can do is share with you what I've learned. In this episode, I'm going to take you behind the scenes and I'm going to walk you through the three most important and really most painful lessons I learned. And if I can help you avoid just one of them, this episode will be worth it. Are you tired of feeling like you're doing all the things as a real estate agent but still not seeing consistent results? Well, that ends right now. Welcome to the Profitable Real Estate Agent, the show for agents who are ready to stop winging it and start building a profitable and sustainable business. This season, we're going to cut through the noise and focus on exactly what it takes to make 100K as a real estate agent. Without the guesswork, without the overwhelm, and without wasting time on things that don't move the needle in your business. I'm pulling back the curtain on the exact framework that took me from my first 100K to 500K to building a seven-figure business. So if you haven't hit 100K yet or you struggle with inconsistency, don't worry, I've got you covered. It's time to take action. Let's get to work. Hitting your first 100K is more than a number. This is the foundation for your entire business. It is really the most important part of your real estate journey. If you want to build a seven-figure, eight-figure business, you've got to master getting to six first. And that first 100K, it might feel at times like you're climbing Mount Everest with 100 pounds of stuff on the back. It's going to feel overwhelming. And right now, you probably even feel alone and even isolated, guessing, trying to figure everything out, and you feel like you have no support at all. Now, during my journey to hit my first 100K, this is where I started to really understand what it takes, not just to sell homes, but to build a sustainable and profitable business. And this is what people don't talk about, what it actually takes to get there. I mean, I'm talking about the real stuff, the doubts, the setbacks, the second guessing yourself, the pressure that you feel to keep going when you're like, nothing is working. And there are so many moments that I've had, even up to a few years ago, where I would still question, am I cut out for this? Of course, different questions pertaining to that, right? Scaling, hiring a team, firing a team, having a team, keeping a team, all the things about teams. But I remember what it was like. And now as I thought about my 23 years in the business, there are so many of these lessons that I could share, hundreds, maybe thousands at this point. But for this episode, I asked myself, what are the three lessons that would have made the biggest difference for me? Now, you probably heard this phrase before, your first K is the hardest. And while I don't believe that it's hard, and I don't like using that word, and you'll hear me correct myself or I'll help you correct your own thoughts around that, because I want to make sure we tell ourselves it's not hard, it's just new. You're building new habits, you're developing new structure, you're learning how to take action. Now, these aren't strategies from a textbook. These are real life moments and mistakes that kept me stuck, playing small for way too long, and some things that helped me finally move forward. So if you're on your own journey to six figures, I want you to listen up, because by the end, I really want you to have some more clarity and direction. And I really hope you hear something today that helps you shift and move into your full potential so you can start making money. All right, so let's dive in. Lesson number one, I didn't believe in myself. One of the biggest things that held me back early on was my mindset. And again, even up until a couple years ago, I was full of self-doubt and I lacked so much belief in myself. And what I mean by this is there's this little voice inside our heads that says, you're not ready. You're going to mess this up and you're not as good as you think you are. I mean, those are just a few of my thoughts that I've had. And I don't know if you're having those thoughts. I don't know what voice keeps you up at night telling you you're not good enough, you're not experienced enough, and you're definitely not ready to take this step. Again, this voice kept me stuck. It held me back from growing faster and making more money. Now, despite all of that, I've sold a lot of real estate. I was going to curse right there, but I decided not to. I've sold a lot of real estate. But again, if I knew what I know now, I believe I really would have probably doubled or even tripled that number of 380 million. And I certainly would have gotten to 100K a heck of a lot faster. Now, I'm not sure if I shared this before, but I don't think I have in this season. I didn't take my first listing until years into my career. Not because I didn't know how, but honestly, because I was scared. I was so scared I was going to mess it up. I was scared I didn't know enough. I was scared that someone was going to ask me a question that I didn't know the answer to. So I stuck with buyers for most of my time early on in the general market because it felt safe. I knew how to do buyers and that was easy and I could just show them houses and write offers and keep in mind this was during one of the greatest recessions of my lifetime that I've experienced. So you can only imagine, working with buyers. I mean, I remember one buyer, we probably saw 100 homes before he got an offer accepted. I mean, it was that crazy and insane. But later, this same fear reared its ugly head when I wanted to move into the luxury, department. I told myself, well, my average price point is still too low, or I don't look like a luxury agent, or I need more experience before I can work at that level. And here's what I want you to know, which is kind of funny as I say this out loud. This is after I'd sold millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate. I still felt this way. And what I realize now is that for you, you have to have belief in yourself first. That's what I want you to understand. I want you to believe with confidence that 100K is possible. I want you to visualize it. Visualize 100,000, like close your eyes. Please don't close your eyes if you're driving, but I want you to visualize that 100K right now and then scaling to a 7-figure, 8-figure business. So please don't fall into the same trap that I did. So if this hits home for you, I want you to take a moment and I want you to get honest with yourself. And here's what I want you to do. Ask yourself right now, what belief is holding me back from making 100K? Are you saying things to yourself like, I don't have enough experience yet, or I'm not the kind of person who can be successful in this business, or I don't know what I'm doing? And then I want you to write down the thought. There's something about taking action and writing this thought out. And then we're going to reframe it, right? This is positive affirmations. I'm sure many of you have heard that phrase before, but we're going to reframe this now into a positive. So if you say things to yourself like, I don't know enough to make 100K, try saying instead, look, I'm learning every day. And what I already know is enough to help someone. And then go out and help someone. Because your mindset here is going to set the tone for everything that follows, not just now, but later on. So this is something you can carry with you, put it in your pocket, and you can carry it with you as you grow and scale in the business. So stop telling yourself you can't hit 100K because you can hit 100K. Lesson number 2, I focused on the wrong things. When I think about this lesson in particular, especially when you are starting out, right? When I was starting out, there are so many things you think you should be doing. So what are those things you think you should be doing? But all activities and actions are not created equal. Looking back for me, I wasted a lot of time, energy, money on the wrong things. I hired so many companies to create the perfect logo. Remember, you guys, I started way back in the dark ages. So we didn't have things like Canva and ChatGPT like we have now to be able to leverage, but I hired companies and spent thousands on finding the perfect logo for me, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands on marketing agencies to build websites for me, thinking, yeah, I need a website. That's going to help, my business. I spent hours, so many hours, hundreds and thousands of hours obsessing over social media, when to post, what to post, where to post, how to post. Do I need a business page? Do I post on my personal page? Okay, if that's you, I feel you 100%. And I hope you're laughing because that was me. But the bottom line here is none of those, obsessing over my time, creating my logo, picking my branding colors, those don't make you money. None of it will get you closer to making 100K. And these are not the foundational pieces to build a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure business. Yes, there are important things here, but to get to your first 100K, these are not priorities. You've got to focus on those income producing activities first and foremost. And you're like, great, Vanessa, this is wonderful news. But if no one sat you down, as we know in our licensing classes, they don't, and show us the things that matter, how do we know what to do? How do we know what things will move the needle? Okay. You're just unclear right now, but this being unclear is what will keep you stuck. You've got to know what these are. Enter me. This is where I come in because I'm going to share with you those fundamentals, exactly what you need to move the needle in your business. Hey, a real quick pause before we go deeper. If you're listening right now and thinking, I want a clear plan to finally reach 100K, then check out my signature program. It's my step-by-step framework for real estate agents who are ready to stop winging it and start building real results. Inside, you're going to learn the exact fundamentals to build the foundation to hitting 100K. We're going to cover everything from mastering your buyer and seller consultations to building your database and delivering a 5-star client experience and everything in between. You're going to get access to my scripts, templates, and checklists. Plus, we're going to have coaching, accountability, and support so you never feel alone. Click on the link in the show notes now to join the roadmap to 100K. All right, let's take you back to the episode. All right, so we're going to get back to this and we're going to talk about the fundamentals because these are your non-negotiables. This is what every single agent should be prioritized. And this is true whether you are making your first 100K or your first million, et cetera, et cetera. Like as you grow and scale, obviously these fundamentals need to be passed on to the agents that you hire. And yet these to me are the 5 fundamentals that you should prioritize. They are lead generation every single day. Don't go 2 days without lead generating. The second one is following up and nurturing relationships. The fortune's in the follow-up. I'm sure you've heard that expression before, but it is 100% true. I've built a 7-figure database. Look, I don't have to lead, quote unquote, lead gen for new business anymore. I just go to my database and pick up the phone and call, and the business comes to me, which is where each of you all can get to. The third one is going on your appointments. This is where the rubber meets the road, okay? This is face-to-face interactions with our clients, going on the appointment. And then, of course, at the appointment, number 4 is we're presenting and executing agreements. Again, moving the needle towards making your first 100K to making money as an agent. And then the last thing is we've got to practice what we're talking about. We got to practice what to say. Because if you think about confidence, confidence can come with practice. You can't wing these things, right? You have to know when you're in situations how to handle objections and things like that. But we're not going to focus on the getting ready to get ready part. We're just going to focus on I can block time every single day to practice what I'm going to say in situations, whether it's someone in line at the grocery store or it's someone at an open house. What are you saying? So here's your next step with regards to our lesson number 2 is you want to pick one of these fundamentals and just prioritize it every day. Just put it on your calendar this week. Commit to saying, you know what, Vanessa? And of course, it starts and stops with lead gen. So let's just start with that. Just take that lead generation and say, I'm going to put it on my calendar every single day. And what I want you to understand is, yes, you're going to hear agents say, you need a 3-hour time block, a 2-hour time block. And yes, there is some truth there. However, as I've taught you already in this season, is with regards to lead generation is you have to have your 3 strategies and time block them on your schedule. So it may look different for every single one. The point here is it must be on your schedule every single day. So let's shift that focus and let's put it on our calendar because this will help you shift the results that you desire to get into, which is making money, making your first 100K. Lesson number 3. I was trying to do it all by myself, all by my lonesome. And this is true as I scaled my business. I felt very alone, very isolated. And I think many, many new agents feel that way. You know, we sign up with our broker, we have high expectations. They're going to mentor me. They're going to do all these things. And then you're literally thrown into the pond and you're like, what do I do right now? But I will tell you, you are your worst coach, your worst accountability partner, your worst mentor. Okay. And I don't want to sound like mean or anything, but this is the truth, right? Can you imagine going in the mirror and saying, hey, did you do your follow-up today? And did you do your lead gen? And you're giving an excuse back to yourself in the mirror saying, oh yeah, well, excuse. This is what happened. I'll get to it tomorrow. This is not going to move the needle. This is not going to help you. Okay. You've got to have someone that is cheering you on. And mind you, I had my husband, right? He's been my partner in my business for over a decade now, for a long time. I don't even remember the year. I have to go back and look. But he's been been a partner in my business for a long time. But we didn't hold each other accountable. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone exterior, outside, coming in and being able to really hold you accountable and partnering with you, cheering you on, pushing you when you need to be pushed. Okay. So this is really, really important. I mean, I wish I could go back in time because I would make the excuse, well, I don't have the money to pay for a coach. That's not a reasonable excuse to me as I see it now, because my coach is what made me a ton of money, so much money. I mean, I scaled the first year I hired her, which was over COVID, by the way. I grew 65% in 1 year, that was my best year ever. And so the excuse that a coach doesn't yield revenue I think is a myth. Okay. We need to debunk that, because coaching, mentoring, having someone cheering you on like that it's an investment in yourself, in your business. And looking back in hindsight, that's why I said this is what we don't know in the moment, but we know it reflecting back, is if I had hired her earlier on, I probably wouldn't have sold 380 million. I really think I probably could have doubled or tripled that. I mean, that's how powerful having someone hold you accountable. Because here's how I want you to think about it. You spent the money, you found the money to get your license, right? You made that investment in your license, and now you're here, and we already know 75% of agents fail in the first year. Why is that? Well, that's why I'm here, because I want to change the narrative. I want to make an impact on this group of agents, because this cannot happen. You all have dreams. You all have passions and purpose. And to think that you went through and got your license, and I know many states are different in terms of what the requirements are. Florida is pretty easy to get your license when you think about it. Not a big monetary investment either, or time investment, but you still have a dream and an excitement to go and serve people. Maybe it's because you had a bad experience and you want to go out and serve now to your clients and say, I don't want them to have the same experience. Or you had a great experience and you're like, I want to provide that to the people that I work with, right? So we have to remember, we made an investment in ourselves. Let's continue that investment. So just maybe go to your broker and say, hey, is there someone I can be mentored by, or someone that can come alongside me, or find an agent peer in your area that can help hold you accountable. Just lean into someone. Please do not do this alone. I really wish in hindsight I could go back and say, what were you thinking, Vanessa? But anyways, that's my little thing there about my third lesson. Again, there are probably so many more lessons, but these were the 3 that kind of came first to mind. And I'll share, obviously, along this season, more and more lessons there, more things that I wish I knew, that if I could go back and change, I would. But you're here now. Let's make some movement. Let's get you to your first 100K. Take those action steps for me that we talked about. Look at your calendar. Get that lead gen on there first and foremost, because this is what's going to move the needle 100% in your business. Not only lead gen, but the other fundamentals, but lead gen comes first. So go do it. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. Know 100K is possible. And just repeat that to yourself every single day. I'll see you next time. Success as a real estate agent comes down to a decision: to show up, take action, and stay committed. So don't just listen. Apply what you learned today and put it into motion. If you need help getting started, I want you to grab my free 60 lead gen strategy guide so you can start finding the right lead gen strategies that'll work for you. And if you're a motivated, ambitious agent who's ready to hit 6 figures, join my Roadmap to 100K program. You'll find both links in the show notes. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with a fellow agent and leave me a 5-star rating and review, as it helps more agents just like you find the show. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time on The Profitable Real Estate Agent.